There we go. Ooh. Hi, guys. I look like trash. How are you all today? If I look really sweaty and overheated and red, it's because I am, because I've been mopping and organizing and moving furniture and all that good jazz. Yeah. So today on I Am a Hot Mess, we're working on Patreon awards, and depending on how things go, I may or may not play a little bit of Identity V if the stream's long enough, if my crash is coming down, because I've been awake. I woke up late. Let's just say I woke up late, so I technically haven't gone to bed. So it's 5 a.m. for me right now, but I haven't gone to bed, so. I look good. I was also speed when I saw notification. Well, yay! I'm happy about that. So, yeah. We are going to be working on... Damn, I really want to work on that collab piece, but I can't, because then I can't record it on my iPad if I screen share. Drat. I finished this an hour ago. This was a Patreon exclusive emergency commission because my electric company fucked us over again. Oh, damn it, I cursed. Oh, YouTube. Damn it. Oh, I forgot. Well, that's great. But, yeah. And then I was like, oh, I could do this. Because this is a collab that me and Morgan are working on for an Identity V thing, because we're both trash. But I'm recording the speed paint process for this, so I can't do that, because I can't speed paint process on my iPad when I'm doing this screen sharing thing. So, Patreon awards it is. So this is a tiefling. I did the little border around it. This is a tiefling for one of my patrons. One of my patrons, Prince Galaxia. I'm pretty sure that's what his username is. He had to stop being a patron this month because of financial reasons, but this was a backlogged Patreon commission, because I had to stack them back in June and July, and then more life happened, so I got the basic rewards done, and then Identity V is nice. It is very nice. It is very addicting, and it has become my lifeblood recently. If you hear that in the background, it's my chinchilla, so. But yeah, I realized I hadn't streamed since literally 20 days ago. I streamed a couple times on Twitch, but I'm just gonna be honest. I have not been in a good headspace, at all, recently. And my editing issues have been a thing, and needless to say, I've recorded quite a few rants, and a lot of opinion pieces, and a lot of updates. So, videos are coming. But because of my computer issue, I have to literally turn on my old computer, which takes 2 hours just to turn on, to export everything I've been editing and working on top of working. And so because of all that, I'm of course. But then I'm here, and I'm you know what? I did a lot of work today. Because I did. I mopped and cleaned my entire apartment. There's a lot of stuff, stacked on stuff, and my desk is still a mess, but it's mostly just clutter, so I can, easily find places for that. But then I have laundry to do, and then I'm good. And I'm yes. So, hi, hello. So, yeah, been a long time since I've done a YouTube stream. 20 days, but, since I did this kind of consistently. I remember back in the glory days when I used to be able to, stream, once a week on YouTube, or was it once a week, or was it at least once a month? It was at least once a month if it wasn't once a week. So, yeah. And if anybody asks, I use... that's a thick brush. Let's try 14. I use the dry ink, didn't mess with the settings, that just came with that came with Procreate. If anybody's asking for my shirt, it is an Alice Madness Returns steampunk shirt that I got off of Teespring, no, I got it earlier this year. But my computer issue is also why my vlogs haven't been going up. I was doing really well with the vlogs for a bit there, and then I did them, and then I was having my rendering issue, and that kind that kind of killed my productivity a lot. So, yeah. Let's see. I agree. God, I feel like eternity since we streamed. I'm happy you're here again. Well, I'm happy you're here. I'm happy you guys are here. Don't get used to this schedule, as in it like being 5 in the morning. Because it's 5 in the morning right now. Because my friends are coming on Tuesday. And I'm very excited. And we are being very smart because we're not idiots. All of my friends that are coming have self-quarantined for more than enough time for it. We're not going anywhere. I'm literally picking them up from the airport and they're coming to my apartment. And we're just gonna vibe and like get serotonin with each other. And I'm very excited because this is like the only chance of me getting like a vacation at all this year. And boy howdy, do I need this. So 5 a.m. streams the best streams. I know. I just feel bad because like we've been planning this. I mean, it was kind of impromptu. But we were planning this, and then we were, like, super excited because we're like, oh, we're being smart, we're self-quarantining, we're, like, if we go anywhere, we're not gonna, like leave our car, you know, everything's gonna be good, we're all gonna be smart and, like, be clean, and then, you know, I'm salty, so I'm just gonna admit that, like, on top of working on everything, I'm salty, so I get salty Michi. I know I'm supposed to be, like, positivity in July, but you know what? July does not want me to be positive. It does not, because I've been very opinionated, and there's been a lot of things I wanted to talk about, but I had to stop myself, because I'm like, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't, and then I'm here like, but I wanna. But then what I was trying to say was like, and then Jake Paul has to go and have a giant-ass 4th of July party, and because of that, you know, my state might be closing down again. So, because of that, I'm just sitting here like, ugh, there's some semblance in this world. Yeah, so I have an art tips video that has to go with my Mike Morton video, that the speed paint that went up recently. It's going to be an art tip, so I'm probably going to have that go up on Monday. It's like an 8-minute video, but I talk all about color blocking. Because my life likes to eat my soul. All the art videos I had planned that were supposed to be art-themed and art topics just aren't going to happen. Right now. I'm not saying they're not going to happen forever, but just right now, it's one of those, like, nope, I just gotta focus on work and take up that beautiful serotonin and dopamine from my friends. But I feel really good. I feel really good with the cleanliness that me and my husband have been able to do to our apartment recently. It's like one of those things where we didn't realize how nasty our apartment was until we were, like, mopping it. Because we didn't own a mop for the longest time. And because of all the, like, crud going on, we didn't really want to mop, so we, like, vacuumed and broomed. And broomed. Sweeped. Michelle. Not and broomed. And you swept. See, that's what my brain is. But I was like, ugh. There's so much space now. And there's, like, so much clutter. But doing this deep clean has also, like, opened my eyes to areas we can use better. Because Cody and I have a lot of, like, random stuff. And we only live in a one-room apartment. So we have our living room that's attached to our kitchen and a giant deck outside that we can barely use. And then our bedroom. But our bedroom is mostly all of our storage with our closet. So we don't really have a lot of clothes, actually. And so we were like, okay, how can we, like, rearrange this? So we're doing more, and we're going to get, like, a shoe thing for our couch, and we might get another chair, and then more storage, just to, like, organize better. Because we're both realizing that the clutter is getting to both of us. Because, oh, hello, gunshots. That's not a joke either. I don't know if you guys heard that, but there were gunshots just shooting off in the background. Oh, I should say, I'm drawing on my iPad. Let's see. I wish I had money so I could donate to you for the new PC. Oh, hey, don't worry. I have a new PC. Any money that I get through, like, donations and, like, coffee tip jars and PayPal stuff, it's literally all going to RAM to go into my new computer, because I have a new computer. It's why I can do all this. I just don't have enough RAM I need 2 more fucking sticks, and then I don't have to worry about the Premiere Pro issue. So I'm drawing on my iPad. So this is the size of my iPad. It's actually resting on my like big tablet right now, but it's because I have these rewards done on my iPad. So are those normal here? Living in a city in California, in Southern California, yeah. I kind of hate saying that, but like I grew up listening to like gunshots and weird stuff. Like I didn't even live in like that bad of an area, but like I lived in not a good area. And so, with it being a city, I'm not doing good with those swoopies. She's got this, like, little, like, chest cape thingy. Do I have the reference on here? I do not. Oh, well, she has, like, this little chest cape, like, thing. I have 16 gigs. I have 16 in mine. It's not enough. It's not enough. Because, Premiere is an idiot, and there's literally nothing I can do about it. So I want to bump it up to 32. And so when I bump it up to 32, then I'm literally not going to have any issues, because my laptop has a port to put the RAM in, and I have a friend that lives in the complex that I can go. I just literally have to buy the sticks of RAM. But sticks of RAM cost money in which I do not have right now. So it's one of those things where it's like, yep, it's an inconvenience. It's irritating. I'm going to bitch about it, because I acknowledge it's an inconvenience and it's annoying, but it's not life-threatening. I can do my work, I can stream, I can edit, I can play games again, I can talk with my friends. It doesn't take 1,000 years to turn my computer on. My old computer, I've talked about this in videos, but I am serious. Like, I got so used to having an old laptop, because my old laptop, the one I did everything on, was like 6 years old. I got that laptop before we even moved into my in-laws' house. And so, because of that, actually, no, we need to have, I was trying to be cute where, like, her lip was, like, poking out through it, but I don't like how that looks, so we're just gonna hide the lippy so it looks even more cute. You know, I never used to do this either. I used to be, like, so OCD and, like, no, I shouldn't say OCD. I've been, like, so perfectionist with my line art, and now I've got, like, a really steady, confident hand after years of practice that I'm, like, still looks good. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I just grew up in a tiny capital, and we rarely see any violence in my life. I've only seen a murder back in 2017 recently. Well, I've never witnessed a murder. That is something that's got you beat. That's got you beat on me. And I'm very, very sorry you saw through something that traumatic. But yeah, I've lived through my friends getting jumped from gangs and going into the hospital. I've dealt with guns. I've dealt with drug violence, both with my family and without my family. Like, my family was never the ones that were doing the stuff. It was the people they would invite to our home. So, like, I'll just say I have issues. I have issues, like a lot of people do. And it's, like, a little... No, I shouldn't say funny. I was gonna say it's, like, a little funny, but then I'm like, huh. You know, if I didn't have a good relationship with my family, I don't know where I'd be right now. Because I'm, like, one of the few people that I acknowledge I'm very lucky and I have a really good relationship with my family. Which also makes, you know, everything going on suck, because I haven't been able to see my family at all because of everything going on. Because my family has health issues, and we can't, you know, guarantee. Okay. Well, that's still sweet, though. Job, I'll be a commission. Yeah. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Commissions are not going to be open for a while, though, unless life throws me another curveball. Which hopefully it doesn't, because I'm kind of like at my limit. I'm out of spoons. I'm beyond out of spoons. I am negative spoons. No, where'd you go? There you go. But I'm so excited. I'm so excited. This is what I've been gearing up for. It's gonna re-energize me, and I've got so many plans. So many plans for things that I'm really excited for. Nope, no more spoons. Hi, Sky. Also, if you hear random stuff in like an hour or so, my door is open to like let air flow through my apartment, so I'm not chugging at my AC bill because I don't have my electric bill right now. But it's really nice out right now, and I'm like, oh, it's actually cold, and I'm getting a breeze, and I don't need my AC, and my chinchilla can run around, and my cat can chill. He's by his window. Binks really likes sitting by the window, but he doesn't like sitting by the window if it's not open. I think he likes the air too. Binks is my cat, if anybody was asking. Hello, art stuff. But yeah, so live streams are also the time if you guys ever have like any questions you want to ask me, because excuse me, because I don't really have much to talk about when I just work. It's why I like having music in the background, which is why I've been streaming more on Twitch, because now I can say that. So yeah, follow me on Twitch, because I'm streaming way more there. I still don't have a consistent like stream schedule, but I do shoot for at least twice a week. Obviously, though, with friends coming, I'm probably not going to be doing that, but I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of stressed out before August because in the UK our exams were cancelled, so the exam board's going to get our results and work during the year. Is the anime 2021 happening? Probably. I'm pretty sure, like, so I'm trying to be optimistic, like, the best I can, because this isn't like when the Spanish flu happened, and I'm hoping that, oh, yeah, no. I don't think she has fishnets. Crud. But, okay, what I was trying to say was, when the Spanish flu happened, we were also at a very different time. It's not a word, Michelle. I know I didn't say anything, but my brain wanted to go Scientologically, and I'm like, that's not a word. Does anybody else do that? Like, I have to stop myself because my brain's going to want to say a word that I honestly know is not a word. But, we're a lot farther now in the sciences, so I'm hoping, because, boy howdy, am I glad I am not a scientist right now, because those people are working day and night to try to get us a vaccine and trials and have life work again. So, I'm hoping we at least have a vaccine by the end of this year. That's going to be really soon, but that's what I'm hoping for. And then we can shoot for human trials, and then we can, have lives again. But the problem with a pandemic is it's a pandemic, so it's all over the world, so. Let's see. Yeah, and I have to, it really sucks. Let's see. Possible spoilers for future video ideas you have in the works at the moment, if any. I've recorded quite a few rants, so be prepared for a few rants. I don't want to say which ones to spoil them yet, but besides my little art tips one that's going to go up, like I said, probably Monday, be prepared for some rants, because I've been in a bad headspace and I wanted to rant for a while. So, a lot of rants. To sprinkle in the rant so it's not just me being salty and negative, I did the audio. I don't know when I'm going to pick them around because I still have to put the background footage on it, but I did the audio for my first date being a disaster, and then how my wedding day was almost a disaster. So you're going to get a couple story times that are some cute, wholesome thrown into the salt. Oh, and there is a video, but it's not done yet because I haven't technically filmed it, where what's going to go on is, because my friends are coming to visit and we're not leaving my apartment, Twitch, actually, like my Twitch subscriber people, followers, I was talking in a Twitch stream, and we were talking about really bad literotica on Amazon, because it is one of my favorite guilty pleasures that I am openly admitted that I listen to, and I don't listen to. I made that mistake once, and I'm never doing it again. You gotta read them. When I listen to them, it's weird, but because my friends are coming to visit, and we're not going anywhere because we're not idiots, what we're gonna end up doing is I asked them, I'm like, hey, if I like record us, and I narrate it, would you guys do that? And Twitch was like, hell yeah. So they gave me money to do it, to buy the book. And so I haven't bought the book yet. I'm waiting because I couldn't get it from the app for some reason. So I want to make sure I don't have to like get Kindle Unlimited or something. But if I do, I'm just going to pick another one and have like random people on Twitter vote for it. But yeah, I'm going to read it. I'm going to turn that into a video. I'm not going to... What I'm going to do with that one, when that one is done, because my friends are coming literally this week. Don't fall like that. What's going to happen is I'm going to record the whole thing on my webcam with my friends, and then the unedited long narration commentary will go up on Patreon for the $2 and up people. And then I will get to work on editing the actual review for YouTube. So you guys will get the review with random clips like snipped in, but I'm not uploading like it could be anywhere between 3 and 6 hour long video like publicly to my main channel. So, but there's that. So you guys can look forward to that if you're a patron. And again, it's just one of those things where like another reason why that's going to go up to Patreon, the unedited commentary, is because it's a literotica book, so I can't really edit the fun parts. I can for a review, but like actually doing the audiobook portion, like that's kind of the best part. So $2 and up patrons, be prepared for that. This character is so cute. I love tieflings. So... Miss Soup Plantation. Never eaten one. I forgot that it went away. I've never eaten at a soup plantation, so I literally don't care. Can't really miss something you've never had. I was planning on, but I decided not to. I was going to do a Butch Hartman video, because of like all the stuff that's going on with him right now, but then I'm like, with everything else going on, and I don't like making videos dedicated to like one person, because one of my rants is that way, and I don't like doing that. I usually like, I like having my stuff being like, hello fingers, can you function please? That would be lovely. Thank you. Sorry, I always have to focus when I do hands. I'm like never good at drawing hands. Hands and feet. Still my weakness, even after all these years. I can give you all the ones. Well, thank you. They help keep my lights on, literally. But yeah, sorry, I've never been to Sloop. Why do I keep saying sloop? It's not sloop, there's no L. Soup Plantation. I don't know why I keep freaking saying sloop. Okay. I will say, though, I'll pat myself on the back and be a little cocky here for a minute. Practicing with the iPad has actually gotten my, I don't really need a stabilizer like I used to. I used to heavily need a stabilizer, and now that I've practiced more and more with my iPad, I'm like, I can just do it. Oh! But yeah, I know some people who've done videos on the Butch Hartman stuff are like Creepshow, a couple of other people I've seen where like that guy, oh my god, genuinely like makes me mad. I'm just sitting here, and then I saw that like Chris Clemens video, and I never knew this guy existed before I saw people talking about it, and I'm sitting here like, why does this man get me on such a spiritual level of how I feel right now? Because it's not even funny on how accurate this is. But I hope you guys are doing okay and at least, staying in there the best you can. Because I know it's hard for everybody. Because we're all just, living in a weird time box right now. That's that one thing where it's like, I keep seeing, like, reasons for why 2020 happened, and I'm like, maybe it was just, like, we were just doomed to have something like this. Because it's been so long, and Mother Nature was like, oh yeah, let's just make sure everybody has the worst year of their lives. Who are still alive. Should clarify. This isn't the worst thing that's ever happened to the world. I personally still think World War II was really bad. And that's not a joke, I'm just saying. I'd rather not live in a world war right now. Got a Nintendo Switch. Oh, that's great. Happy about that. What made that cake? Wait. What made that the case? Is it seeing your lines as they put them? Or I think it just worked because when you have the iPad, there's the stabilizer isn't the same. It's not like what I'm used to. So because of that, I had to adapt because I got this thing. And I eventually got used to it. And so then when I was able to move back to SAI, I was like, oh my god, I don't need to have it like S7 anymore. I can have it at 15 or none. Well, you don't want to have it none. I'll have it like 1 or 5, so you still get a little bit of the like swoopy. See how you get that like nice little swoopy there, that good pressure. Yeah. All right, so time to do my favorite part, the foofy hair. You know me, I'm a girl who loves some foofies. We need aliens. We do need aliens. The first time watching one of your streams, love your videos, by the way. Thank you. I'm very happy about that. I was a little worried because I'm back in my my weird YouTube slump. Like I'm at that point where I'm stagnant. Like a lot of people have talked about being YouTube stagnant, and I didn't really get what that meant until recently. And I'm sitting here like, oh, this is what they're talking about. Because, yeah, like, every time I upload a video, I'll gain a bunch of subscribers, and I'll be really happy. But then, as, like, the month gets on, I, like, lose less and less. Like, I keep the new people, but a lot of older people leave, or they're dead accounts, so YouTube just deletes them. Because that's what a lot of people don't seem to know, is the whole reason for the, like, unsubscribe bot, sadly, is because there are so many dead accounts on this platform. Like, I have dead accounts on this platform from, like, when I was, like, 13 and stuff like that. Like, there are so many dead accounts. So, the YouTube bot goes and it's like, oh, this account hasn't been on this active for a very, very long time, so clearly they don't care about the content, so we're going to unsubscribe. So, it's like, I'm not... And this isn't like oh my god, I need more subs. This was just, like, a thing, because I heard people talking about it and I never got it. Where it's like, oh... I need to get more subscribers than I'm losing to get past this slump. Because I've been at like 45K for over a year now, when I was like always just going up. And I'd lose a couple here and there, but now it's like literally the same. And it just stays at 45. I'll get like really close to 46, and then I'll dunk down to 44. And then I'll go back to 45, and then dunk down to 44. And there's not much I can do about it, because I don't want to sell my soul. Like, I hate to put it that way, but, like, because I can't hire an editor, you know what I mean? Because I don't feel right. I've had a couple people ask, and I'm not comfortable with that, because I literally don't make enough to hire an editor. Like, I wouldn't feel right. And what little money I do make on YouTube, I kind of need. So, especially in, like, the summer months and stuff. So it's one of those things where I'm like, okay, I can't warrant hiring an editor, so it's all me. So it's not even like I can have more videos out because of that sense. And because of that, I also, like, I know, like, a lot of hot topics that people want me to talk about, but on top, like, I don't mind doing an off-the-cuff video every now and then, I do my best to try to, like, gather notes, gather research, especially when it's, like, a topic video over, like, an opinion piece or a rant or something. So because of that, it takes more time. And on top of that, I have, my job, because I don't make enough to warrant YouTube being my job. And because of that, that's another thing. So it's like, oh yeah, that's, like, you know what I mean? It's one of those, like, what is it? I think Lavender Town made a video a long time ago where she talked about how, like, oh yeah, I spend, like, Monday, and I'm paraphrasing, it's been a while since I've seen the video, but it was something like, oh yeah, on, like, Mondays I do, like, my audio and my research and stuff, and then on Tuesdays I do the art for it, and then on Wednesdays I do the, like, editing for it, and then, like, she gets her videos all up, or something along those lines, where it's like you can put, like, 2 days, 2 YouTube videos. I am not in a good enough place to do that. I have, like, 1 YouTube day. So what I like to do is, when inspiration hits me, I like to, like, because I just realized that is hair. And I messed up that hair so much, and I'm angry with myself, and my nose is really itchy. Oh, okay. I'm gonna go on the other side. I'm gonna go on the other side of this girl and do more of the foofies there. Because I'm distracting myself. But, sorry, Winnie the Pooh, I gotta hide that. But where was I going with this? Brain. Oh yeah, I have to, like, have a bunch of, like, so when I often just work on commissions and, like, things I need to do, I'll, like, record it often, and so then I'm like, there's my background footage. So then I'll have that, and then I will have, like, my commissions that I'm working on, and then I'll have, like, audio spurts, because my audio doesn't take that long. I don't really do really long videos. My wedding one was long, but that was trying to sum up 10 years of a relationship, so that one was like an hour long. But my normal videos are like, unless I'm, like, really opinionated or have a lot of info, they're usually like 20, like anywhere between 15 and 20 minutes. So because of that, it's like, yep, I can, I edit them when inspiration I do the audio when inspiration strikes, and then I will usually do, like, I don't know. I don't have a set day. I'll just, like, pick a day. Usually I like doing them in advance, so I'll have it be, like, that Wednesday. So, like, Wednesday will be a YouTube day. I'll just edit a bunch of stuff, and then what I'll do is, because of my editing issue, once I'm done, everything's good and it's edited and it's good to go, then I'll, like, wake up that Thursday or something, turn on the old computer, wait 1,000 years, and then once it's warmed up, then I will export my videos, and while I'm exporting it, because I have this computer and my iPad, I can work on other stuff. So that's kind of my schedule. It's like I have so many things in many little baskets instead of one thing in one basket. And because of that, and because with me personally, unless I'm in, like, a really bad spot, I don't want to ask people for, like, background footage, because granted that would save me more time, but and there's nothing wrong with people who do that. Just for me personally, I'd rather it be my work on my Twisted Disaster channel. You know what I mean? So that way people don't get confused. Like, if it's a collab, that's one thing, but I always, like, put on the video, like, hey, I'm coloring this, or hey, I'm doing this, like, that kind of thing. But yeah, if I just, like, got random people's footage, I could make so many more videos. But at the same time, I don't like jumping the gun, because, like, a perfect example is, like, when I wanted to talk about the Shane and Jeffrey stuff, stuff just kept coming out, and I'm watching people make video after video, and I'm like, oh, that's so exhausting. I couldn't do that. I'd rather, like, wait and just get it all done, and then research the, like, issue at hand over the, like, just the two guys, being petty, terrible people. Hi, first time checking out your stream. Hi, I hope you're having fun. Also, hey, good morning. Good thing I still listen. Hey, nothing wrong with that. Did you make that animation? I did not. No, I did not. This was done as a gift for me, And I just love it. It makes Tetsu look so cute. I've talked about it before. When I eventually get money, like a good chunk of change, 'cause that's a good animation, I want to get a Cleo and a Spoopy one. So that way, like, you know, they match. Okay. Yeah, I also have no idea how long I'm going to be streaming for, because I haven't gotten to sleep yet, so I don't know when the crash is going to hit, because yeah, boy howdy do I know it's going to hit. I do think it's raining outside. I hope my plant's not dead. But yes, thank you. I heard it's good to have like a little animation thing, and that people like seeing your face. And because of one of my amazing patrons and an amazing watcher and fan and friend for a very long time, Armani, I have a webcam. So you guys can see my face. Because now I have a computer that can run the fucking webcam. Because my old one literally like couldn't run it, or it would lag like crazy. Like, I was rewatching one of my stream clips, and I'm like, oh, it's in HD, and it's clear, and there's no buffering. That's amazing. Then I realized, oh, yeah, it was all me. Because my whole computer was bad. By any chance, do you draw furries? I kind of like wishing more people for myself. Yeah, I do furries. I haven't in a long time, but yeah, I actually made most of my money back in the day from furries. And I do technically have furry characters. I just haven't drawn them in a long time, so... Nothing wrong. This is a furry safe house. I am not a furry, but I got nothing wrong with furries. It's kind of my rule of thumb for everything. As long as you're not, you know, creepy or a jerk or an asshole, I will be polite and cordial, and we can get along and kumbaya, because everybody's into a certain thing. Okay. I love foofy hair. Prince knows me so well. One thing I do miss, though, is, that I miss about Picardo is, I know it still plays, but I loved being able to, like, double stream with people. That was so much fun. Sadly, I don't know a way to do that now. Like, I know, I know a way, but it's a lot of work. Well, here's the thing. You can be a furry and not be a fetish person. Like, that's something funny that I think a lot of people don't know. Like, one of my mutuals that we've been mutuals for years, her name's Poofy Lion. She's Poofy Lion on Twitter, too. Also Poofy Lion on Fur Affinity. And she, like, has really cute furry stuff, and she's very much a furry. But she doesn't do any fetish stuff. It's, like, really cutesy stuff, and I think it is adorable. And it's like, she was one of the few people that was able to, like, show me that, like, oh yeah, like, when I was, like, new to being, you know, being around furries and stuff. Because, again, while it's not personally my jam, I do technically have a fursona, because my husband's technically a furry. Like, we don't have a fursuit or anything, but he has a fursona too. And he was like, can you make one for us? And I was like, yeah, sure, why not? And that one's pretty much the same. I think the only thing that changed, I'd give her my hair. I was actually, sadly, having to go back to make your, she got warped. Oh no! That sucks. Fursuits are expensive. I was always down for like a partial, but even those are like really, really expensive. And even then, I'm like, what would I get? Because my first one is really boring, so... But that's one thing, like, that's one of those things, like, I wish I could do, because if you can be a fursuit maker and make a good fursuit, boy, you can make money. Like, I actually follow a fursuit maker here on YouTube. Oh, I can't remember her name right now. Drat, she hasn't made a video in a long time, but I found her, and, like, she's, like, showed, like, the process of it, and I'm like, oh, no wonder they cost forever. Or cost forever, they cost... so much. Again, great grammar, Michi. That is great. That is great. Okay. I don't know why I didn't think that would, like, carry over. What the fuck? Boop, 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 boop. I just did all these foofies, and I just remembered this side's gonna get cut off. Very smart, Michelle. They're very smart. Oh well, I'll keep it. I'll keep it in for now. And then when I finish everything, I'll crop it down. Probably be easier to do it that way too. See, I'm just talking to myself. Okay, we're gonna... Yeah, no. Why do I have back problems? Oh yeah, I hunched over like a shrimp. I got a partial. She was around 670, but now because of shipping, it was like, hey, yeah, exactly. And I don't have that kind of money. Again, if I had that money, the RAM would be in my computer. And I think it's funny, like how many people like complain about it, like complain about the prices for fursuits and stuff. Because I'm sitting here like, I know so many people that spend so much more money on more stuff that they're never gonna use. So I'm like, hey, it's not my money. It's no place for me to judge. It's like commissions. Like, okay, I will bring up one thing about the Butch Hartman thing because I've been seeing it a lot. Where a lot of people are like, Butch is 200 versus my 200, and people are like, oh my god, how can somebody charge that much? And I have to like remind myself that I'm like, oh yeah, there's kids on the internet that don't know, because Michelle, you are a 27-year-old lady, you know, so you've been around the block a few times, so you know, you know that supply and demand is a thing, because that's the problem. Like a lot of I hate saying this, but a lot of people, you know, because I will admit, I'm sorry, even back when I liked Butch, I would not spend $200 on that when I learned that man does not know color theory. Like, I didn't think I knew color theory, and I'm sitting here like, how did you make the shows I like? And then I realized, oh, you just came up with the basic concept. It was the showrunners and the character designers that did it for you. But pretty much people were like, oh, stop showing like really good art for $200. People aren't gonna understand. And I'm like, if you don't have the money to just throw $200 down on somebody, then you're probably not gonna get it. And what sucks is when people don't have that big of a following, if they want this to be their job, at least starting out, they can't afford to be picky. I couldn't. There was a lot of stuff I used to have to draw that I was not proud of, that I got taken advantage of because I needed money, because I needed to eat, and it was literally my only option at the time. Like, I think one of my, this is my back, this prices are back when I didn't need it because I had a job and or I was in high school. But when I first started doing commissions back in high school, I charged them for like 8.5 by 11 giant. I know that doesn't seem like giant. It's like a piece of paper, but like fully done Copic work for $5. Because back in the day, that could replace a Copic marker, and that was my justification. I was like, well, for everyone I get, I can get a new Copic marker. So, like, and I had no following. I think I had at most maybe like 50 people on DA, and that's a big maybe. Because I didn't really get people until I started hanging out with my friend, Empress Kaiju, but at the time, she was Aerofex Dracona, and so with that, I'm going to be doing this so much, I am going to hate myself, but I learned a lot, and I made a lot of friends, and a lot of us are still friends to this day, but, like, a lot of them were bigger than me and, like, much better skilled at the time. And so, like, they could afford to charge more, you know? And then as I slowly got better, I was able to afford to charge more. But, like, a big thing people don't understand is supply and demand. Like, there are some artists I know, because they are popular and they will do, like, some really niche fetish stuff, even though I really don't like their art. Oh, I've seen them make like $8,000 for something they can finish in like 10 minutes because the supply and demand is there. And so when I saw a bunch of people freaking out about the whole Butch thing, I was like, why are they freaking out? And then I had to remind myself, I'm like, oh yeah, you know about supply and demand, Michelle, but a lot of people don't. Because I remember back when I learned about supply and demand. And how supply and demand works is, it's kind of in the name. It's one of those things, it's why you see a lot of people, what they'll do for supply and demand so they can make it be affordable is like, a good example is Bailey J with supply and demand. Is she, because she has such a big following, she can only afford to open up her online shop because she does everything herself. She does all of the art, all of the packaging, all of the mailing it off, all of the putting the stuff together. I've seen enough of her vlogs. That girl works hard. But because of all of that, she can only afford to open up her shop like a few times a year. Because if she did it all the time, if she didn't have an assistant to do it for her, the demand is more than the supply, and then she wouldn't be able to make more art to add to the store. So because of that, she can only afford, because she wants to make it be affordable to people, because I hate to say it, and this is nothing on her art, but because she's so big, if she did like a limited run of like, we'll say 10, I'll be generous, we'll say 10 like limited prints or stickers that are like once in a lifetime, because of how big her fan base is, she can put a pretty hefty price on something that probably costs like $10, and she could probably make like 4,000 times the profit if she did a small limited run for it, because her fan base is that big. That is supply and demand. And so because of that, it's like, no, I want to make it affordable to people, and I kind of feel the same way, you know? So I can only do it in small batches. So that way it's not taking up so much of my time. I'm still getting paid a fair amount, and people can get what they want at a fair price. And so because of that, when people get bigger, it's why you tend to see them do more things where, like, instead of having a print shop, they'll have a Redbubble. Instead of having this and that, they'll have this and that. So it's more easier. Like, right now, I have a Redbubble again because originally I was planning on this being, like, my inventory year, and I was like, I'm going to make so much fan art, and I'm going to work on so much stuff, and I'm going to get a side job so I can supplement my income, so I can get all my commissions done, and I'll take more. And then Rona happened, and now I can't get another job because I'm sitting here, and I'm like, great. So I'm like, well, at least all the cons were closed. So because of that, I had to, like, put a big pin in that to get work done, you know? But because of that, it's a lot of things. It's like, if I opened up commissions for, like, $10, I know for a fact, because of, even though I have a smaller following, I have somewhat of a following. If I opened up commissions for $10, I would be so swarmed with orders that I wouldn't be able to complete them all. So I have to raise them up, as well as the fact that I need to put in my time and effort, I need to put in my skill level, and I need to put in, you know, my supply and demand. And a lot of people hate supply and demand because then it makes them feel like, oh, well, I'll never be anywhere, and I can't afford that, and I can't. Art is a luxury item. It's what I've been saying for years, and I don't think people, I think, especially with the Butch thing, you're not getting Butch Hartman's art because you like his art. You're getting it because it's Butch Hartman art. Again, guy's POS right now, and I do not like him, and I definitely don't see where it is. But there was a time, no, and I kid you not, if I had the money, not knowing what I know now, if I had the money, I probably would have gotten one from him because, you know, to me, he did make my childhood. And that's the big thing. So when I'm seeing people go on Twitter and be like, stop sharing that you do better than Butch Hartman because he's charging, like, not even really industry standard, and you're making the rest of us look bad. And it's like, I'm sorry, I've seen people with amazing artwork that blows me out of the water that have, like, under 100 followers on Twitter, and I'm sitting here like, oh, that's not right. That's not right. But chances are those people with that small following probably make their money from other reasons. That's probably why they can do a lot of fan art and they can do things like that. You know, it's one of those things. Or there are people like one of my patrons, Armani. She is, to me, she's a very, very talented artist. She can do a lot of really good stuff. She can do a lot of body types and fun things and meme art. But she's like, nope, art's my thing. I don't want to do commissions. I don't want to do it for money. I don't want to do it for my job. I just do it for me. And that's fine too. And that's another thing you can do is there are people who don't have to take commissions. Some people just like art. Are you talking about Pastel? No, I was talking about Armani. Because Pastel takes commissions. So that's why I was bringing that up. Let's see. Let me read the chat because I was going off for a minute there. Hold on. Where can I get your prices? Low-key, I'd love an icon. Oh my god, Copics are expensive. They used to be $5. Back when I was in high school, they were $5. So they were still expensive, but it wasn't as expensive. My prices are on DA. It's on, there's a journal. It's an older one. It'll say spring commissions closed, but my prices are there because I'm working on updating my commission sheet. But my prices are there. So there are my prices for that, so you can look on there. But yeah, I do not know when I'll be open again because my queue is still long and my life is a disaster. So I'm probably not going to open unless something terrible happens, which, knock on wood, that it doesn't. But I'll probably end up opening them around my birthday if I get enough done that's owed. Right now, my stuff's going to pretty much be owed work and or adoptables or really quickie stuff, probably sketches or Inkbuzz or something. Like these, where is it? Oh no, not Procreate. Or these. I can do these pretty quickly, so I would probably do these anywhere between, because they're just the inks, they're not colored or anything or even shaded. So these would be anywhere between $30 to $40, depending on the complexity of the character. But this, the person who wanted this was they have a chainmail skirt. And I'm of course they would. But I'm trying to make it stylized because the reference had it stylized. So it looks kind of cutesy. Alright, let's see. Hold on. What are questions irritated when asked about commissions? I have to think, because there's actually quite a few, because I've done this for so long. I've been doing these since I was in high school, off and on, but I've been doing commissions since I was in high school. I think one of my biggest ones would be, when I make public updates. I'll put updates on Twitter, on Instagram, on DeviantArt, on emails. I will make public big updates, or on YouTube. And they never look at them or read them, and then they're hey, I want a refund, or hey, I want to change my commission, or that, and I'm well, that's that's annoying. I think another one is, I had to start charging for, fixes. So most of my commissions are in a wing it style now, unless stated otherwise. Or it's really expensive to where it's not in the wing it style. Wing it's where I wing it. I just go, because I've had that happen way too much, where what would happen is, hello Binks, what would end up happening is I would get people who would get they would end up getting 4 or 5 full body sketches out of me because they wanted to change the pose, change the expression. Slight changes I'm okay with. If you want me to change an expression, that's fine, as long as it's not in the inking phase. If you want me to change something small, maybe have their hair up instead of down, or add a jewelry or something, or add something small, I usually goes fine. But I've had full on move the arms, move the face, move the expression, change the body type, change the posing, do this and that, and I got to a point where I'm nope, gotta charge you, because I'm just doing so much work that it's realistically it's not even worth it at that point, because I've done so much work that I'm not even making the money I was per hour. You know what I mean? And then some people are well, you can't really charge commissions per hour, and I'm yes, you can. I mean, yes, you're obviously not going to know because there are some commissions that I can get done in like 30 minutes, and there's some that can take me 3 to 4 hours. There is a variation there. So you want to shoot for what won't make you exhausted. Like this. This is taking me forever, and I'm still not done. But, oh, yeah, no, exactly. Pastel's got amazing art. Let's see. I don't think it's fair to compare prices of one artist to another, even if the quality isn't equal because all subject. Yeah, exactly that too. Exactly that. Another thing too is like I acknowledge I have a very niche style, not like I'm special, but it's kind of like EASYPop stuff. And when I say that, I'm not saying I'm the next EASYPop because I know when people like compare themselves to stuff like that, they're like, you're comparing to them. I'm like, no, I'm saying I have a niche style. I do the four fingers. I have a weird fusion that I acknowledge is a weird fusion. I have odd eyes that aren't usually done with, like, people do similar things to my style. I like them thickums line art. I like them bold, bright colors and shading. I acknowledge that my style is also very niche, so people aren't going to want it as much as, like, pretty painted anime style stuff. Like my friend Breeze. Her commission prices are really expensive, but she takes a long time to do it, and she has a very, very, I can't say niche style, because it's not niche, but a very, unique, that's a better way to put it, very unique style to it. But it's still, really pretty anime, which is a lot more marketable, especially nowadays. And people don't come at me with anime's not art, because it is. Art style is subjective. Like, there are some styles I cannot stand, but I know people love. Like, another one I personally can't stand is, I hear the story's great. I cannot stand Madoka Magica. I've tried so many times, and so many people like Michelle. It's right up your alley. It's dark and spoopy and gory and graphic and magical girls and witchcraft and demons, and I'm like, yep, that sounds like everything I love. I can't get past the art style. I just can't. Over the art, I got to the dasher. That dasher she did was really pretty. But again, it also comes down to art is a luxury item. You don't need art like you need food. And I have people who get mad at me whenever I say that. I'm like, but it's true. I'm sorry. If I did a painting, I'm not going to be able to eat my painting. That took forever. Okay. Come on. There we go. Let's see. I plan to price my commissions when I open them hourly. Right now, I'm doing is prepare his tracking as long as it takes me to do it. That wide range. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. That's a good way to do it. And also, what I like to do... Oh, my voice is already going. I'm talking a lot. But it's really important. And I am sorry, but I have to say this. While most people should charge per hour, at least their bare bone minimum wage, I am sorry, but again, if the following and the supply and demand aren't there, you're probably not going to get as many commissions, which is discouraging to young artists. I know that. I've been there. But you need to understand, because there are some people who it takes them longer, sadly, to get certain things done. And I see it, and I'm like, yeah, I wouldn't pay that for that. And that's also me, though. But you need to understand, because it's something that gets under my skin when I see professional artists that that can easily make money tell people, oh yeah, don't underprice yourself. And it's like, yeah, you're right. Don't get burnt out and overdo it. But at the same time, like, it's kind of like like again, myself, for example, I'm lucky I'm in a very good position right now because of, my transparency and my work ethic and my name and my fandom. Oh, I shouldn't say fandom, that's gross. My fan base, my followers, my watchers, and my supporters. I know for a fact, because I've worked so hard, that if I was ever in a pickle, I can definitely get at least one commission. I know that for a fact. And that is something that not everyone can say, and I know that. But if I'm going to tell little high school me, yeah, I know that you have, like, no following, and your art skill is not that good, and your color theory is not that good, and you're trying your best, but you also don't have a following, you should totally charge, like, 15 to 30 an hour. I would be like, that's really bad advice. I genuinely think that's bad advice, because then you get these kids getting their hopes up that they're like, oh, I can make 15 to 30 an hour. And then they don't for years, and they get discouraged for it. Which is why I'm like, hey, just do it for fun. Do it for some pocket cash, as long as it's not hurting you or stressing you out. And because if you're doing it out of desperation, you're already going to be stressed out. Like, and you also know your limit. That was a big thing with me. For the longest time, I didn't know my limit. I was just like, I need money, and I'm not making a lot of money. So I would take a lot, and then it would take me forever. And that was back when I had good equipment. And now I'm like, okay, it's not so bad. But then my equipment dies, and I'm like, oh, let me stress. Another thing, too, that I've had to do, like, recently is know what is work and what isn't. Because for the longest time, I only ever counted when pen hit tablet. Oh, hello, Polizia. I'll wait. Okay. So, oh, hey, Blue Tashi, no problem. But, because of that, you need to understand that, like, it's more than that. It's looking up references. It's getting back on emails. It's keeping things accountable. It's planning things ahead. It's writing things up. Excuse you. It's planning things out. And so that's also work. For the longest time, I kid you not, probably until this year, I didn't count it as work. So I would be answering emails, notes, contacting people, updating things, getting things ready, preparing for things. And then when I would sit down and draw, I'd be like, why am I so tired? Why can I only draw for 4 to 6 hours? Which I haven't been able to do in a long time. I haven't been able to, like, sit for, like, 4 to 6 hours straight and just work like I used to. I can't anymore. I literally get, like, sick if I do that. I have to, like, take breaks and do a lot more now. But I'm like, oh yeah, that also counts as work. Posting, updating, making a commission reference sheet, checking emails, checking social medias. Those are work. And so that needs to go into that as well, and if the grind gets to you and you're not having fun, especially when you're not making it as a living, you're just making it for some fun pocket cash, what's the point? This is the time when you should be worrying more about, like, bettering your art. Like, Lavender Town, surprised to think I'm a Lavender Town fan, she made a video recently talking about, like, the worst, like, best well-intentioned advice whatever artists get. And I watched it and I was like, oh, baby, this is why I like you. Because these are so true. And that's why, like, when people ask me, like, oh yeah, how do I get better at art? I'm gonna be better than just say practice. Because, yeah, I practiced. But I'm gonna give them, like, basic things to practice on. Like, practice body types, practice expressions, practice looking up references, practice this and that. Like, this right here, the pose was technically referenced. I don't remember from where. It was from, like, an anime picture that I saw. But I was like, oh, that's a really pretty pose. That works out. And then I had the pose sketched out in, like, 5 minutes. And I was sitting here. I didn't have the sketch done in 5 minutes. Clarify. I had the pose done in, like, 5 minutes. And I'm being like, I was having such a hard time thinking of a pose in my brain because I wanted to be big brain and I wanted to be like, I don't need a reference. And then I'm here like, nope, do need a reference. And I realized I messed up because I'm having it behind that, so I gotta just blur. That's great. Remembering that I was like, oh yeah, I moved the hood, so gotta have that be that way. There we go. Okay, boop. But like, perfect example right now, right? This took me inking it, because I'm almost done inking it. How long have I been streaming? A little over an hour. Inking something like this, and I'm still not done. I still have to add details and do the eyes and stuff, but back in my day, when I was like, you know, baby artist, don't fall iPad, this probably would have taken me like 4 hours. Just inking it. So that's something else you have to take into account for. So, you know, don't undercharge yourself to where you're burnt out and you hate it. But don't overcharge yourself to where you get depressed because no one's buying your stuff because you don't have a following. Which is something you literally cannot control. You can't control that. There's nothing you can do. I made one video that blew up in a time when YouTube was great. And my thing has been slowly moving since. Well, yes, I was doing commissions full-time before that. It was also a different time. You know, like now everyone's moved to Twitter. Which that's another art video I need to do more research on, but I do want to talk about like the like art migration habit of like every 5 years. If it's even 5 years. I would go more towards like 3. Every like 3 years of the art migration. Also that, you know, when people are like, oh, that's cheating, and I'm like, if it looks good and the client does not care, then I don't care. Oh, don't get me copyright striked. That's another big thing, is I used to like fuss over tiny details that like nobody ever cared about. And I'd sit here and I'd be like fussing over something forever, and I would be like, let's see. You make it fly. Oh, thank you. Well, I'm happy that my voice, you guys like it, because I hate my voice. I've always hated my voice. I always felt like my voice was very like really, really deep for a girl. Well, let me stop saying girl. I'm a woman. I'm 27, but I always had a very deep voice for a lady, and it always made me like, I still don't really like listening to it when I have to like edit stuff. But people are like, you have such a soft... Yes, Banks? You and Al, you leave them alone. Let's see. How long did it take you to learn shading? I love drawing, but I cannot grasp shading at all. I learned to color first. I watched so many color tutorials on YouTube on how to color inside and how to cut. Well, now how to color in Procreate because I have an iPad. But just lots and lots of practice. I found a lot of free-to-use coloring pages, and I'd color a lot of those. I would learn programs in inking, and I would look up references of how to shade and look up, like, screen cap redraws, and I would look up, like, anime things, and episodes of, like, Western animation when they'd have, like, shading in it, and I would use those as reference, and eventually you just get a motor memory for it. But even then, because I have a bad habit of having a comfort zone of a 3/4 character, a lot of my like self-ingrained lighting is 3/4. So when I want to do more fun, like expressive shading, like for this I'm doing 3/4 anyway, but I have to look up references so I can get it in my head. And so that's things you're going to want to start looking for more towards, that I wanted to do, is to get better at coloring, you have to practice, but you have to learn. Because another good thing is color palettes. Color palette memes are amazing. Like when you'd see people doing like color palette memes and stuff like that, like, oh yeah, pick color palette and a character or whatever. You find a lot of colors that like work really well together that you wouldn't originally think would work well together, and that helps a lot with color theory. Like back when I first had colors and characters and stuff, my characters were like, you had one color scheme and that was all you ever wore, and all of your outfits were that one color scheme. And then I eventually looked into things, and so is Procreate on the Google Play Store? No, I believe Procreate's only for Apple, because I'm currently drawing on an iPad. That's why. But when I'm drawing on my computer, I use EASYPaintToolSAI or Photoshop, but I mostly just do edits in Photoshop. I use Sai for almost everything, or Sai 2 technically. It's not free, but it's, I believe, $60 when I bought the license like years ago. But I know a lot of people also use Clip Studio Paint. And I know you can Clip Studio Paint onto a tablet or an iPad for a different price, but I still need to learn Clip Studio Paint. But yeah, Procreate's like $15 once, and then you have it on your iPad and your Apple account forever. So that's what this is. And then my Apple Pencil. Oh, crack. And like right now, I'm adding some depth to the shading. Because that was also stuff I never used to do, was stuff like this where I would just add little details, because I like how they make the final product look. Oh, is it only iPad? Oh, I'm sorry. If it's only iPad, I thought it was on other tablets too. Allergies, man, though. My allergies have been making me go crazy lately. Anybody else having that issue? There we go. See, little details. Another thing, too, that took me a long time, and I'm still not the best at it, is line weight on certain things. Is how much of a difference actual line... Because I used to be like, it's thick all the way or it's nothing. And I would just learn about like pen pressure and stuff. And while that is still good, you get so much more variation from like adding thin lines to thick lines and thin lines for little details, and just how much of a difference it does compared to a big one. Same with like adding a stroke layer. You can't really add a stroke in Procreate. I kind of have to do it by hand, but like adding that extra little boom around it really makes characters pop too. But that's where you can do little things like right here. I'm going to add a little seam, so you can add variation to clothing and make things look a little bit more in depth than it originally did. Alright, Al, I'm gonna feed you. Hold on, baby. Oh, I made that one horn slightly too small. If you hear that crunching in the background, it's my chinchilla. He's being a little birdie boy. Okay. That looks a lot better. Like, you're really gonna see... Oh. Hello, cursed dot. You are not welcome here. Come on. There we go. And then we need to have a little bit of a red one for your eyes. Okay. Ah! Sorry, when I, like, really get into it, I tend to be focused. Like, another thing I like, and I believe I talked about this in my, like, my eye coloring video, is I tend to have, like, with my eyes, I like having them be ovals over circles. No reason for it. I just like it for my style aesthetically better than having just, like, a straight circle. But there we go, and then you remove the sketch layer, and boom! Inks are done. While I stretch. I'm trying Cleo, but what color is her blush? Normal blush, I guess? I never thought about it, so normal blush. Have I watched Steven Universe? Yes, I have. I've watched all of Steven Universe. And I'm only being sarcastic because it was, like, my biggest merch selling at cons. So, yeah, no. I definitely watched Steven Universe, and I've watched all of it. And the movie. Have not read the comics, though. Okay. Let's see. I might have EOE, so literally my allergies are killing me. I don't know what EOE is. What's your opinion on Lapis? Liked her, then hated her, then thought she was okay, and then I thought she was wasted potential. Where are my allergy pills? Am I all out now? I still have one here. Allergy pills. It's Walgreen brand. Not sponsored, but it's not, it's not Happy Pills. It's allergy pills, YouTube. Ugh. Let's see. Does it work similar? I mean, it could. I never thought much of Cleo's blushes because she doesn't have a nose. So, yeah, there's comics, but the longest time the comics weren't canon, but I think they're continuing it in comic form. I'm not sure. That could be speculation, what I've heard, but I've also seen Rebecca Sugar talk about stuff on Twitter and a lot of other stuff, and that was a video I wanted to do, and I still might do someday, but it's one of those things where I want to watch the entirety of Steven Universe and take notes down and things like that, but that would be a video a very, very, very long time away, because I still love it, but honestly, I think the bottom line, I think its biggest fall was being on Cartoon Network. I do. I feel like if it was on somewhere like Netflix, but she worked for Cartoon Network, so it makes more sense that, of course, she would pitch it to a show she was already working for, but, or a company she was already working for, but I really feel like so many of its issues had to do with Cartoon Network's meddling and their meddling and their other issues. I heard, again, I can't find the source because I'm just remembering it, but I remember reading something a while ago about how in Russia and in other countries, where being gay is not okay, Cartoon Network changed Ruby, so Rubies were the only male gems in the series because you couldn't have Ruby and Sapphire be a thing, and that's why Rebecca put Ruby in the dress and Sapphire in the suit, and she told Cartoon, and it's also why she made the wedding be an unskippable episode with the fact that the Diamonds attack is important, and she like stood her ground. I believe she said she was gonna quit if they edited out the kiss, because again, it was already so edited, like heavily down. Like there were even some editing where before the Ruby and Sapphire stuff, where it was stuff like when Rainbow Quartz, was it Rainbow Quartz? Yeah, it was Rainbow Quartz. It was Rose and Pearl. When the Rose and Pearl fusion came out, like when that episode dropped, like they had to edit out their dance because their dance was too gay. They didn't say it that way, but that's what they meant. So a lot of it, like a lot of people who were in those countries thought it was a lot more graphic because when they like fused, instead of seeing their dance, you just saw like Greg's face. Yeah, I'm not making this up. Like you can look it up. Like the censorship is not even funny. It's why a lot of people talked about how like in shows like Adventure Time, when they had like gay scenes, the animators and Cartoon Network made it so they're like, oh yeah, you can have your gay scene, but you need to have it in a way that we can easily edit it out. Like we can easily like make it not gay. So representation, but only in America. And only in countries where, you know, being gay is okay, because we want money. And so, because of that, like, I know Rebecca likes to, like, had to stand her ground. And it's one of those things where I'm like, man, if it was on Netflix, I feel like she could have done so much stuff, and there were so many, like, unanswered things, and so many things we could have done with just the show as a whole. In Turkey, they censored, like, 12 episodes, and it was just the first season. Oh, well, there you go. See what I'm talking about? Like, it's kind of sad. Oh yeah, no, I loved the fusions. I loved and hated the fusions because it's not an original concept. But like in my fantasy story, I had something called fusions before I was a Steven Universe fan with some of my fantasy characters. And then I got into Steven Universe, and I got like really into Steven Universe, and I was like, well, time to change the name for my thing, because even though it does not work in the same way in the slightest, because I'm a diehard fan, I don't want people to compare it to that, so I had to change the name for my thing. But yeah, it's one of those things. It's kind of sad. But yeah, I feel like Lapis was just wasted potential. Then it got fully canceled Turkey. Well, there you go. Like, one thing that was really disappointing was I felt like, back to the Lapis question, and maybe I'm wrong, and Lapis stands can come attack me, but I felt like, same with Peridot's arc, with how it was like, because, you know, she's an Era 2 Peridot, she's like, I can't fuse, and I can't do this and that, and I don't have anything special about me. And then she found out about her magnetic powers, and I remember being like, oh. And then with Lapis and her, you know, abusive relationship with Jasper, and then she's got her whole thing with Peridot, because I've seen people now where, like, because of how it ended, they're like, oh yeah, they were just really good friends, and I'm sitting here like, I'm not usually a shippy person, but I'm like, Peridot would not get that upset over losing a friend. Because I love Peridot. Surprise, surprise. And I'm all for ace and autistic coded representation. I do think we need more of it in the media. But I was like, it makes so much sense that Peridot's going to be able to fuse, so she knows she can. And Lapis is going to fuse, so it's not just Malachite, so she can, you know, like, get over that part of, you know, her abusive relationship with Jasper. But nope, we don't get any of that. Instead, we get, oh yeah, Peridot just doesn't want to fuse, ever. And I'm like, but she did. She did want to try. If she just didn't want to do it, she wouldn't have even offered to try it with Garnet, so you already have it in her head that she does want to try, but she doesn't believe she can. And then we have the whole thing with Lapis being a thing, and then it's like, oh yeah, wouldn't it make total sense for a Lapis Peridot fusion? Oh yeah, it would totally make sense, but we're not gonna get it. And that was something that I will admit, petty and salty, but I wanted my Lapis Peridot fusion. I just felt like both their character arcs were leading towards that. And then the whole, like, you know, we never saw Jasper and Lapis talk at all. when we got to Future 2, and I'm just sitting here like, that was something I wanted to see. It's a lot like how people wanted to see, like, wanted to see Bismuth and Peridot. Like, not Peridot, Bismuth and Lapis, like, have their talking to, because it was pretty heavily implied that, Bismuth was the one that put Lapis in the mirror. And I will say one thing on Rebecca Shuka's fault, because this is her fault. She wanted, like, high-end voice actors, but because she had high-end voice actors, Cartoon Network's like, yo, it's not in the budget, so this character's either not gonna fucking talk, or they're not gonna show up often. That's why Sugalite literally only talks once, because they got Nicki Minaj to voice her, and I'm sitting here like, okay, but why? Like, if you, I was okay with the Diamonds being opera singers, like, that I was okay with, because they're, like, special, important characters and beings. I was like, okay, that's something different. I'm down with the opera singing Diamonds, that's fine. But for, like, fusions, you could have found a lot of, like, not high-end people so we could have them talk. It's the same with, like, why Opal wouldn't talk a lot. Opal wasn't allowed to talk a lot because her agent was like, yo, Cartoon Network can't pay you to talk a lot. So that's why Opal was quiet and mysterious. It wasn't because she was quiet and mysterious, it was because in the budget they're like, yo, we can't afford this bitch to talk. So you're gonna be the quiet one. Because, like, I don't think a lot of people know that's how it works. Like, when you pay a high-end voice actor, it's, like, per word, not, like, per hour, like a person. So it was like, yeah, we have all these high-end people voicing these characters, and it's like, great, they're not going to be able to talk a lot because of that, because it's just not in the budget. That was her for Zugalite, yeah. No, I completely agree. I think she did a great job. I didn't know it was Nicki Minaj. And whenever you have, like, high-end voice actors doing characters, I don't want to know who they are. That's, like, my big thing. It's like when I see actors in movies. I want to, like, pretend I'm not looking at an actor right now. I want to see the character the actor's portraying. So she did good, but because it's Nicki Minaj, they're like, oh yeah, we're going to have her for one episode, and every other episode Sugalite's in, she's going to be mute or not talk, or be in the background and not talk, because we can't afford Nicki Minaj. It's why Sugalite even made that joke. Not Sugalite. Sardonize made that joke in the, I think it was No Year Fusion, where she's like, even though, like, she wasn't here, do we still have to pay her? Like, it was a joke, because it's like, oh yeah, because, you got Nicki Minaj. And, like, that was another thing that was irritating, was, man, I would have loved to see more fusions talk, but they couldn't, because they were high-end. And not even just singers, because, like, what's her name? The girl who does Smoky Quartz. She's one of my favorite actresses. I don't know her name, but she's the girl in Russian Doll, and she's Nikki in Orange is the New Black, and she's the main star in But I'm a Cheerleader. I love her. I think she's so funny, and I love her voice. And she was the one I did know her voice, and I was like, oh my god, that's so awesome, that's so great. But then it's like, oh wait, but you're a high-end TV actress now. They can't afford to have you a lot. So if we got Smoky Quartz, we're going to be lucky to get her. Same with Bismuth. That was something that made me sad with Bismuth. I loved Bismuth's character. I love Bismuth. I love the actress who plays Bismuth. But the reason why we didn't get a lot of Bismuth was because that actress is a high-end actress now, and she costs money. And Cartoon Network was like, yeah, we know that you kind of wanted this to be like a new Crystal Gem, but we don't have the money to pay for this high-end actress to do a lot of voice acting work, so you gotta pick sparingly. And that's one of those other things that's, like, really irritating about the industry, because it's like, it's why a lot of people in the animation industry, and I'm not saying I am one, it's why they would rather have, like, professional voice actors, not that they don't want them to get paid, but because, isn't there a lot? Yeah, exactly. It's like, it's why they'd rather have voice actors do, like, character, like, things in, like, movies and stuff, because chances are they're going to be more into it and be able to do more than how it is. Like, because then it's one of those things where you have to sit there and you're like, is this character actually a quiet character? Or do they have to now be a quiet character because we had a very specific voice in mind, but we can't pay that actress or actor to do that voice often. You know? And that's what kind of sucks. Because it's like, oh yeah, these people deserve to be paid that, but then the show suffers because how are kids, which is what the demographic is supposed to be, how are kids supposed to understand? Kids who love the show, who are like, man, my favorite character is Bismuth. I really wish she would be in it more and have more of a reason to be there than just be like, I'm another Crystal Gem. But then it's like, oh yeah, sorry, Timmy, sorry, Laura, sorry, Jose, you can't have that because the actress is too expensive. That's what I mean. If it was but I don't want it on streaming. I would not want it on TV, like Nickelodeon or anything, or Disney. I always be like, nope, I'd rather have it be on Netflix or Hulu or Amazon, anything else. I think it could have been so much better. Also, future Bismuth voice actor was different. Oh, well, see, then there you go. I didn't even know she was different. Well, see, if she's different, then that's probably why she was able to talk more. And it's kind of aggravating. It's kind of aggravating because you sit here, hello. It's kind of aggravating because you sit here and you're like, it's another one of those things where it's like, and now that I know that in my head, when I see a quiet character and I find out they're like, oh, it's a cool Easter egg. It's voiced by this person. I'm like, okay, but is that character a quiet character because they're supposed to be a quiet character for the story, or was it because they're like, oh, we can't afford to pay their prices, so we're just gonna make do. And again, it goes back to oh, well, you don't want people to be paid their rights. I do, but it's also why, oh, I hate to be this person, but it's why a lot of cartoons are not fully made in America. They're not. A lot of them are made in Korea. A lot of other cartoons are made in Korea, too. Because, sadly to say, a lot of the Korean animators and the Korean teams get paid a lot less. So it's like, oh yeah, we want better fluid animation? Okay, we're going to pay the American animators animated price, and then we're going to pay the Korean people, the Korean price. And it's like, oh, it's a whole other thing. Other people on YouTube have explained it better than me, but this has been a thing that's been going on since forever of outsourcing. And that's why you also see a lot of, indie stuff take a lot longer, because they, want to pay people proper wages and what they're worth, and even then a lot of the animators don't get paid good wages, but I'm not the person to talk about that. Sarah Stills? I wonder who did Spinell's voice. Yeah, and I think Sarah Stills, isn't she also a Broadway person? Or a play person? A play person. Great grammar. Here's I'm not knocking Rebecca at all. I'm just one of those things where I'm I know you want people who could sing, Rebecca, but I wonder how different characters would be if money wasn't an issue and you didn't have the constraints of Cartoon Network. Yeah, she's Broadway. Okay, Broadway. There we go. Hold on. It's getting light out. I'm going to, close my lights off real quick. I will be right back. Don't poof at me, Binks. No need to be poofing at me right now. I'll just turn the lights out. This gonna wash out my white balance? Probably. Enjoy the beauty that is my wall. Okay. Oh, that breeze is nice though. Exactly. And then they ended up messing over the letter. So I get it. It was a passion project. I just really, really hope she leaves the network. Because I know she said she's not done making kids cartoons, because I do think for a kids cartoon, Steven Universe is amazing. And I think Future is amazing in its own right. It's not perfect. Do not get me wrong. There's some issues that are wrong with it, but its mental health message and the way it was able to talk it down to kids so they could understand, like, stress and abusive relationships growing up and things like that. I genuinely, like, the hospital episode that was all over Twitter, it made me cry. Like, it actually made me cry. It made my husband cry, and because he had a really bad childhood, and it, like, explained so much to him that he didn't understand, because I didn't freaking understand it. And I'm sitting here like, this is the kind of stuff I love. I love seeing this so that it's understandable and kids can see it and they can relate to it and they can get help and they can have an understanding of why certain things are happening in their life. And all that other stuff, so it's like, I'm happy she wants to do more kids media. I'm just hoping she leaves Cartoon Network. I hope she doesn't stay. I want her to go to another network. She now has a name, her and her boyfriend. Because if I remember correctly, didn't they, like, cancel OKKO too? Because her boyfriend's also, her boyfriend's also, like, was a person on the show. Like, I know he worked on the show, but I mean, like, didn't he also have a show? Alright, let's see, hold on. I would think Netflix would have been better pair offer for her going with... Well, the thing is, she worked for Cartoon Network, because she worked on Adventure Time and other stuff, so she's already worked there, so it makes more sense, but that's why I'm really hoping that she leaves. I'm not her agent, I'm not her manager, but I'm just saying she's got a name now, and she can definitely leave, and I really hope she does, and does it on another network. And a network that, like, won't pigeonhole her. I thought they canceled it. Didn't they cancel it? Like, because I remember my friend Holly, she was, like, all about OKKO. And that purple skinned dude who's with the short, stumpy, green dude. I don't watch OKKO. But, yeah, I thought they canceled it a while back. Or it wasn't doing well in ratings or something. I just... Google it. I might be wrong, but I thought it was. I haven't joined a show like that since the 90s. Oh, yeah, no, completely. To be fair, though, because I was a 90s kid as well. Born in 92. I grew up with cartoons like that in the early 2000s era, but at the same time, I'm sorry, I will admit, I was never a Ren and Stimpy fan. I did not like Ren and Stimpy. Most of my favorite cartoons growing up were Cartoon Network and Disney Channel and stuff like that, and, Saturday morning cartoons, but, there were so many cartoons I loved that, like, they were made in the wrong time. Because, like, I have Disney Plus. I know, I'm terrible. But I get it free with my phone company, so I'm technically not paying for it for a year. But, I know Disney is, like, the devil, but I'm sorry, they got me with those Disney Channel original movies, too, and I'm like, when it's done, I'm still pay for it. Because I will admit, my nostalgia bomb is way too hard. And they're adding documentaries to it, because that's, like, something I love. Like, okay. That making of Frozen documentary, yeah, it was propaganda for the movie, but it also, like, went down the stuff, and, like, I love that stuff. It's why I want to get, because I'm also a horror movie fan. Hi. I want to get the DVD for Haunting of Hill House, which is a Netflix show, but if you get the DVD, there's, like, there's 4 commentary tracks, and, like, extended episodes, and I'm like, it's done by my favorite director, and I love that story, but I want those DVDs because I want that commentary track. I want to know about the ins and outs and the inspiration from it. And that's why I still like physical media, because there's no real I hate to say it, there's a lot of things that are way too niche that a lot of people are not going to care unless you pay for the DVD for it. You know what I mean? It's just wasted space on a site. So like now that they're adding like documentaries of how movies are made and stuff, I'm like, gimme Disney. Again, you might be evil incarnate, but I just can't. I can't hate you. I want to and I can't. What's your favorite horror movie? Yes, Samurai Jack. My favorite horror movie. I have to think. Because I have my guilty pleasure horror movies. I think I talked about this in my last stream on YouTube. But my favorite movies, my guilty pleasures, are the Saw franchise and the Final Destination franchise. Like, my friend tagged me the thing on Twitter from the Final Destination franchise, and it was just a bunch of photos, and I was like, wow, you know you're a fan when I look at these, like, random photos out of context. I know exactly which movie they're talking about. But, and it's, like, ironic because I don't like torture porn for, like, horror movies. I really don't. Like, I can't stand the Hostel movies. I can't stand Human Centipede. But for some reason, Saw and Final Destination, they just get me, and I don't know why. But I think a small list of my favorites of all time would have to be, and this is in no order, so it's just like that. So it'd be like Oculus, Doctor Sleep. I hate The Shining. I hate The Shining movie. I love the book. I hate The Shining movie. I hate The Shining miniseries, but Doctor Sleep, with what they got, they did an amazing job. Haunting of Hill House, because that feels like one long movie. The first Sinister, not the second one. Hereditary. Hands down Hereditary. The Others. That one's more of like a thriller, but I consider it a horror. Is the tanning bed. Yeah, Final Destination. Yeah, because the roller coaster. So, first one's plane. Second one's freeway. Third one's roller coaster. Fourth one's NASCAR. Fifth one is... What's the fifth one? It's NASCAR. I can't remember the fifth one. Is there only 5? Am I dumb? Yeah, no, there is 5. Okay, no, I was right. So then the fifth one's the bus on the bridge. So it's freeway, roller coaster, airplane, freeway, roller coaster, NASCAR, bus on freeway, bridge. I just think they were all well-developed characters. I didn't see any racial things to the fusions. I just think they were all developed here. What do you mean? R6S Cooper Adventures? What? Can you explain that more, please? But yeah, the third one is the tanning bed, because that's the roller coaster one. That's with the 2 girls in the tanning bed. I used to also have that on DVD, and I had the fun minigame where you could choose to save them or not, which you didn't save them. It was just, like, extended scenes. But those were fun. I also missed that. I kind of miss interactive, like, minigames with, like, movies and stuff. I know they did that with the Bandersnatch, but I didn't like the Bandersnatch. Because I don't like Black Mirror. Fun fact here. I don't like Black Mirror. I don't like Black Mirror. I don't like Black Mirror. I think people who like Black Mirror and say it's beautiful horror, they're the horror fans I do not like. I'm sorry, they're like the really deep horror. Like, I like when a horror movie can be deep, but there are some people who go like way too far into like the deep meanings of horror movies, to where I'm sitting here and I'm like, did we watch the same movie? Or they're the people who are like, oh, I just didn't like it. You just didn't get it. It's like, no, I got it. I just didn't like it. Because those are the people who tell me that, like, It Follows is a beautiful, cinematic movie about feminism and the beautiful awakening of feminine beauty. And I'm like, did we watch the same movie? Because the movie I saw was a dumpster fire about a demon that's transferred like STDs. That was the movie I watched, and the main girl's kind of a piece of trash person. Well, you just didn't get it. No, I got it. I just didn't like it. Oh, did you ever watch Mirrors? The Korean version or the English one? Because I saw both. At least I hope it's Korean. It's been years. I found out it's like Taiwanese horror. I'm gonna feel like an asshole. But I watched both. I also watched. I never saw the American One Missed Call because I heard it was terrible. But I did watch the Asian version, the original one. That one fucking terrified me. Oh, I do love live streaming though, even though this is probably gonna get so demonetized. I get to curse again and not have to worry about censoring myself. Ah, YouTube, why you gotta be so dumb? Let's see. Do you like The Grudge? Yes. I haven't watched all the movies though, but I did watch the very terrible remake that they were trying to do. I heard they made like a prequel show on Netflix, and I hear that one's pretty good. But I haven't had much time to watch it because it's a show, and because it is a Japanese horror show, I have to watch it with subtitles, and so it's kind of like anime when I watch it with subs, as I have to like stop everything I'm doing and watch it. But I like The Grudge. I like The Grudge. I like The Ring. The Ring did terrify me as a kid. As a kid, it did. Me, not anymore. I like Dead Silence, but I know a lot of people don't like, that's not one of my favorites, but I liked Dead Silence, and I know a lot of people did not like that movie. They were like, it, and I'm sad, because I liked it, because it was like, okay, I will be snobby here, I like that it's got a muted color palette. I like that throughout the entire movie, it's muted, and the red stuff is, like, really bright. I've always been kind of aesthetically drawn to that stuff. Plot's basic, but I really liked that aspect, and whenever I tried showing it to friends and stuff, they're like, why the colors look weird? And I'm like, it's done on purpose. And they're like, but why? And I'm like, oh, it's okay, Michelle. You don't like when people are snobby about some things. You gotta just take it. This is your karma. Is people not liking the muted color schemes. Because I will admit, at least in Dead Silence, there's no reason for that muted color scheme. It was just what James Wan wanted to do. And I was like, you know what? You do you, James Wan. To me, The Ring was less scary and more just a good movie, in my opinion. Yeah. That's valid. I need more aesthetic for artistic friends. Let's see. Puppet Master was the only horror movie that scared me. I've never seen the Puppet Master movies. I've actually never seen them. I've also never seen Cube. I've never seen Puppet Master, Cube. What's another famous one? What is another famous one that I can't think of right now? Okay, technically I haven't seen all the Chucky movies. I've seen most of them, but I haven't seen all of them. Because I came in during when the Chucky movies were funny. Like, the first Chucky movie I ever watched to its entirety was Seed, and I hated it. But then I saw Bride of Chucky, and I was like, oh my god, I love this movie, it's amazing. And then I watched back when they were spoopy, and I'm like, I kind of like that they were campy. I think it's why I loved, like, Nightmare on Elm Street movies, because I was like, yes, Freddy, be all campy. I think it's the same thing, like, I didn't watch, I did not watch, no, I watched the original one. House of a Thousand Corpses. Because I'm not a fan of that director. Because I know he did, like, Devil's Rejects and House of a Thousand Corpses. I cannot remember his name right now. He also did the remake for, not the new remake, he did the old remake for, why do I want to say Nightmare on Elm Street? It's Halloween. It's not Nightmare on Elm Street, it was Halloween. But I'm not a big fan of that director, and so, like, I saw the remake of Halloween before they remade it again, and I was like, one of my friends who is a horror fan was like, oh my god, it's from Devil's Rejects. And I was like, oh, I've never watched that one. And then I was like, I saw like the trailer and I'm like, not really interested. Because he's like, that director seems like the type that's like, he's gonna say gross stuff just to say gross stuff. Like, there's no reason for it. And I'm gonna show like weird sexual stuff for no other reason than sex is taboo. Like, which, as a horror fan, I know a lot of us are kind of like, okay, the sex is taboo thing is kind of a little overrated. It's kind of like, I really liked, this is not horror. This is not horror, it's a book I read. I read Crescent City this year, and I need to, like, re-listen to my book talk to see if I'm, like, coherent, because I did it, like, right after I finished it. It was Sarah J. Maas's, she's not a horror writer, she's mostly young adult, and Crescent City was her first jump into adult fiction, adult fantasy fiction, I should say. And I loved it. I'm so excited for the series. But boy howdy, did she write, like, there were so many scenes where characters said cuss words for no other reasons than they could say it. Like, let me get it. Hold on. Just give me a hot second. I think I still have my my little book tabs on it. Because I personally believe, if you are a fan of something, you need to be able to take the criticism with it. So everything I love a lot, I can totally admit when stuff is wrong. So let me just grab that book real quick. Excuse me, Bakey boy. Mama gotta grab her book. Do I? Yeah, okay, I still have them in here. I still have my book darts in this beast. So, give Mama Michi a hot second while I try to flip through and find that. Like one of the good ones. Let's see. No, that's a... Like, there was, like, literally a scene where I was really confused because it's trying to be a serious scene, but, like, two angels are literally talking about, like, getting their dick ripped off, and I was like... Did that need to be in there, Sarah? No. It didn't. It really didn't. And I liked Hunt, but I'm like, why are we having this conversation, Hunt? With your boss? And it was like, oh yeah, baby's first time, you know, being in adult fiction. So it's like, I can say all the cuss words I want. And I can, you know, write about all the nasty, steamy bits that I want. Oh my god, I'm getting close. Am I actually getting like to the scene I was talking about? Wait. Okay, no. Okay, that was a description. I need to get, like, colored tabs. I want to get colored book darts, because I only have the bronze ones right now. They're in my wish list, so I can have, like, oh yeah, here's something funny, here's something descriptive, because I don't like tabs. I'd rather have book darts. Not sponsored by book darts, but they're literally, like, little metal, like, let me see if I can, like, show one real quick. Okay, here we go. They're, like, little metal tabs, so they look better on your book pages than that. Okay, thanks. I think a good horror movie has to be visually scary, not just jump scares, but I'm talking about looking at something that just really creeps you out, like the Silent Hill monster. I agree, but I'm also a big fan of letting the mind... Oh, okay. Sorry, my iPad just decided to turn off real quick. I'm also a big fan of showing and not telling, or letting our minds, like, fill in the blanks. Like, another movie I really liked was... not Dead Silence, what was it? A Quiet Place, because, like, you don't see a good image of the monster, of the thing, until literally the end of the movie. Like, you see glimpses of it, and it's just terrifying and fast, and you're just like, oh, come on, did I not get one of the funny ones? Did I just mark off funny parts? I think I did. Big sad. I think I just did like serious parts or descriptions. I'm really sad because that was like really funny. Darn it, why'd I have to be professional? Well, anyway, yeah, there's a scene in here where two angels are talking, and they're talking about a character being attractive, and they literally make a joke about how, like, you gotta be careful because you don't want to get your dick ripped off, and they're like, it'll grow back, and I was like, okay, but why, Sarah? Like, was that necessary? And, like, technically something happens later on, but it's not comedic about limbs growing back. But it's also one of those, like, why? Why was that in there? That's, like, a weird joke. It's like, yeah, but, but yeah, so, like, I need to re-listen to that, because if not, I will definitely do an updated book talk on this, because I still love it. And I'm still excited for the next book, even though it's probably not going to come out for like 3 or 4 years. Get that. There we go. Yes, chonky boy. Oh, you want food? Okay, fine. Chonk. There you go. Sorry, I was wondering when my cat was being so weird. Have you seen The Bye Bye Man? I love The Bye Bye Man. That movie is terrible. Alright, let's get back to screen sharing. Come on here. Oh, come on, where'd you go? Where is it? There we go. Gotta move this back over. There we go. Okay. But yeah. What movie should I start on then? Okay, what's your tolerance? Like, what can you... Like, I'm being serious. What can you handle and what can you not handle? Because I have a very large palette of horror movies. Do you want so bad it's good horror movies? Do you want horror satire? Do you want, oh my god, I'm not sleeping tonight? Do you want, this was good for its time? Because, like, I'm sorry, time to get my card revoked, but when I finally saw The Exorcist, I could respect it, but I was not scared. I was more grossed out. Just like the original Evil Dead. I'm like, oh, I'm just grossed out. But then I have to remember, I'm like, oh yeah, you've seen a lot of horror movies by the time I watched it, so my opinions are different than, like, a normal person watching it. Because, you know, I have a large palette, so. Woman in Black is good with horror, really no jump scares. That's one thing that sucks, is, like, is there are some people who, they honestly, like, I hate to say they can't focus, but they can't focus. I've had that with a lot of friends. Like, one of my favorite movies is, Hush. I consider it a horror movie, because I think it's terrifying. And it's all about... And it's by my boy, my good director boy, where it's a home invasion movie, which has been done a lot, but it's done from the point of view of a deaf woman, and so because of that, there are so many scenes where there is no audio, because you hear what she hears. So she's like, you know, tip tapping away at her computer because she's a writer, and you just see a dude just walking behind her and, like, start messing with stuff, and she doesn't hear it, and because this nut job is like, oh my god, she doesn't hear it, I can mess with her and have real fun, you, like, see all this stuff that's terrifying, like, so that's a good one, but that's definitely one, like, you don't have to watch in the dark, but you have to focus, because there are some horror movies where, you know, you can, like, especially now, because we're all, you know, quarantined and everything, there are some where it's like, oh yeah, you can just have it on in the background and, like, kind of watch it, and then you wait for the music cue, and then you're like, oh, spoopy, scary. But then there are some where it's like, no, you gotta sit and you gotta watch this thing. But it's also because, sadly, a lot of the, horror fans now, they consider jump scare to be spoopy. And to me, what makes a good horror is it stays with you when you leave. Like, the only horror movie I've ever cried in, like cried in theater, I was so terrified, was the first Paranormal Activity movie. But that's because of the context for the movie. So I've seen it now so many times that it's not that effective. But when I saw it for the first time, and I love found footage. Found footage is my favorite genre. When I saw it for the first time, it was in a theater with my boyfriend, who is my husband, and it was like one other couple. It was the middle of the night. Nobody said anything. Nobody did things. So we just watched the movie, and and the way it was just, it got me in, and it was so suspenseful, and because it was like the quiet of the theater, I could like hear the surround sound, I could hear everything and the subtlety of everything. Again, first one. I literally got so terrified when stuff started to like amp up that I actually cried. And I tell people that now and they're like, not a real horror fan. Crying in the original Paranormal Activity movie, it's so dumb. Found footage is so dumb and it's just a cash grab, and I'm like, this is before they were really cash grabs. And I'm sorry, but it was good directing. Granted, it's gone crazy. Now my favorite, so bad it's good horror movie in that series is The Marked Ones. The Marked Ones is a ride and it's so funny. I love The Marked Ones. The second one's okay. The second one's also a good one, the second Paranormal Activity. But after that, it just goes so downhill. Let's see. Horror movies would be good for me. I've watched was so boring that I fell asleep. Slept through 3/4. Yeah, that's the problem. Like, what sucks about being a horror fan is another thing. It's like what I said with books. You gotta acknowledge that sadly, because horror is cheap, there is a lot more bad horror out there than there is good horror. So you gotta sift through the dirt. Also, like, when you find horror that's horror satire, that's a whole different thing, too. Because, like, Creep is technically a horror satire. I hate Creep. I don't like Creep. I think it's a dumb movie. But it is satire. I like, trying to think. I love Wreck, but I hate Quarantine. But Quarantine has a special place in my heart because it's where Cody and I had our first date. So the American remake of Quarantine, even though it's terrible, will always have a good place in my heart for that reason. Oh, her horns are this way. See, I'm allowed of it. I didn't even notice I shaved her horns on the wrong side. But yeah, that's what sucks. That's why a lot of people. Plus, there's also genres too. Like, I'm not a big fan of slashers. I'm not. Like, I've seen the Jason movies. I've seen Black Christmas, the original, not the remake. I just didn't get to see it in theaters. Well, I like another one's like I loved Hereditary, but I did not like Midsommar. Oh, I'm sorry, Midsommar. Just gotta say it right. But Midsommar was a ride because I got just for the experience of how I saw it. So that one was fun. Yeah, Texas Chainsaw's a good one. That's a good one. That's a bit graphic though. It's like gonna be like by gory, because Oculus is gory too. But Oculus is one of my favorites, and that one doesn't really have jump scares. And when it does, they're not. There's no noise. Like, it's a sudden thing, but it's like actually something to be terrified of. The original Poltergeist is good, but I liked the remake for the family dynamic. Like, for me, the remake of Poltergeist, like, I actually felt like the family was a family, While in the original Poltergeist, I was like, why isn't it just the mom and the daughter show? Let's see. Oh, Bad Seed. It's an old one. It's a black and white one. It's not gory, and it's more terrifying in, like, because it's an older generation and older time, they couldn't show a lot, so a lot of it is, like, implied, and you have to use your brain to, like, do a lot of the messed up stuff. So that's another good one. I like the Bad Seed. That's a good classic. One of my favorites that's, like, underrated is The Taking of Deborah Logan. That one's really good. That's a found footage one. It's on Shudder. Not sponsored, but someday Shudder. My username is perfect for a code. Come on. But it's on Shudder if you have Shudder. Shudder is, again, not sponsored, not sponsored, not sponsored. Shudder is the, like, Amazon for horror, so that you get, like, horror streaming. Oh, everything's cracking. But you know what? I think I'm gonna end it here, guys. I'm getting sleepy. So I'm gonna go take a nap for a couple hours and then wake back up so I don't mess up my sleep schedule forever. But thank you for coming. I hope this was a fun stream. I hope you guys had fun watching and listening and talking, and yeah. So I will see you guys later. Bye.